Hi, I'm George Pratt, and wanted to talk about story development as I tend to do it. I have no idea where my stories actually come from. They just sort of present themselves to me. Comes from the reading that I do, my interests out in and outside of what I do. If I'm working with an existing character for a company, obviously that comes with a lot of backstory that I can take advantage of and use to my own advantage. But the work that I've done for myself is sort of invented out of whole cloth based on some historical events, maybe, like First World War. The first rule that I learned about storytelling is to have a character and have the character want something. And the whole story is whether or not they get it. They may not, or they might. And how they get there, that's the story. And I tend to drop my characters, my readers, into the middle of a story or in the very early stages of the story that's already underway. I feel that drops them right into the action, into the heart of what's going on. And I kind of push through the storyline a little bit, and then something will flip my character back to a memory of why this is happening. And that allows the reader to get caught up with the backstory a little bit and then power into the ending. I tend to do fairly bare bones writing when I'm writing a script, and it is in script form, like a movie script for my graphic novels. But it does vary from project to project. A lot of it might be entirely visual with very little dialogue, like I'm seeing scenes, I'm seeing things happen, but I don't know exactly what they're saying yet. That can come later after I've really developed my visuals and get a sense of sort of an emotional rhythm to the story. Or I may have snippets of dialogue that present themselves, and I make sure I write them down. They go in my sketchbook or on my iPad or whatever. And then those, I try to then vision out what actually happens visually with that series of conversation between two characters. And some things might entirely be just pantomime, and that is for a comic artist or a graphic novelist, that's gold, because that's entirely told through body language and visual manipulation, and that's a joy in and of itself to play with those elements. But the beauty of storytelling in comics and graphic novels is that it is a delicate balance between words and pictures. Sometimes the words have to carry the story, and other times the pictures do, and they sort of play tag team throughout the storyline. Again, like when I sit down to tell a story, things just present themselves to me, and I'll write them down, and then the story builds over a fairly long period of time. My stories take me a while to develop. They don't just come out full blown, although I've had a couple that have done that, which were purely fictional, just fiction, written fiction that weren't intended to be illustrated. But it does take a while, and I like the fact that it takes a while, because then other elements of living of my life come into play, and I stumble on things that are like, wow, that would fit perfectly into this scenario, and that gives me, I feel that's layers of depth that the storyline didn't have beforehand. So I do believe that these take time, and you can't, that time and living and doing other things all come together to help make that storyline better.